Hi, I'm Tim, and this is Timberway Designs. I've been making a series of cabochon videos where I make cabochons out of stones that I find or purchase. This week, we're going to make a cabochon out of the piece of Jasper from episode 22 that lost out to the fuchsite. Oops. Let's make a cabochon. So this is a piece of Jasper that lost out to the fuchsite in episode 22. I went ahead and took a couple slices. This is the initial slice I took off the end here. We'll get it wet so we can look at it a little closer. And this thing is just gorgeous on the inside. I'm hoping we'll get a really good shine out of it. I'm calling it brachiated because it looks like little chunks all glued back together in there. I'm hoping that's a definition, not a conglomerate. Usually, I think a conglomerate is when they're all busted up. This one looks a little more refined. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to take this piece here, and I'm going to go on this side. This will be the back side. I got my fancy new templates. Let me get it here where you can see. And we're going to go with the 1.25 inch. Get it on there. Right. Take my ultrafine Sharpie here. Get right up to the edge. This is not going in a bezel, so it don't have to be picture perfect. Okay, there you have it. Now, if you use these ultrafine Sharpies, use the Sharpie, the gray Sharpie here. I grabbed one of these black ones, I can't remember which, and I used, and these are Sharpies. Even this says that on there, it says Sharpie. And these, the line almost did not make it. The line was disappearing really fast. I don't know if it's a different formula or what. Just make sure you use this gray one right here. The line sticks really good with these. So there's our pattern, carry cut. We're gonna go downstairs, trim it on the trim saw, and then we'll take it over in the cabber and we'll grind it down to the lines. So we're here on my 5-inch high-tech trim saw, which I'm hoping I can get a 6-inch someday. And this thing will go on the shelf for emergency uses only, because I'm not a real fan of this one. But it does work. So here's our cabochon. I'm probably going to cut this edge off here. I might nick this edge here. We'll see how it cuts and maybe take a little off the bottom. Alright, I think that's close enough. I always say the more you trim, the less you got to grind, but you got to be careful because some rocks you can bust the tip off or bust the corner off if you're trimming it too much. Alright, let's go over in the cabber and we'll grind it down to the lines. Alright, we're out of here on my Kingsley North 6-inch cabbing machine. And as usual, we'll start with the 80 grit, 220 grit, the 280 grit, and then I like to hit it with the 600 grit over here on the right. You can't see that. So I'm going to just grind this down to the line here and get the lights adjusted properly. I'll grind it down to the line. It's not going in a bezel, so get it on the line, but it don't have to. I'm not going to be measuring or trying to fit out or anything. So let's get started. Alright, I think that's close enough. Like I said before, when you on the harder stones, you got to be kind of careful because you'll get fractures and little pieces will start flying off along the edges here as you get close. This stone wasn't too bad, but I just noticed just a little bit when I was hitting the edge here, so I kind of cut back. Alright, we'll move on to 220. Now you notice when I'm on the 220 here, especially when you have radiuses, keep moving. Don't stop, you'll give yourself a flat spot. And then the flat spots are really difficult to get out on these cushioned wheels. Alright, I think that's close enough for me. I'm going to take it over in a 280 and then smooth out the edges, and then we'll run it on the 600 just to give it a little bit of shine. Alright, kind of curious what kind of shine we got going here. Get it dry. I had the hardest time drying the edge off. I guess if I grabbed a paper towel that would work, but they're way on the other side of the... There we go. So that's what the 600 right there. I think we're gonna come out looking pretty good. So, got a lot of pretty colors in it. All right, I'm gonna put it on a dop, and then we'll come back and make this into a cabochon. We're all cabbed up here, or dopped up. I dopped the cab. We're all dopped up here. So we're gonna start with the 80 grit, 220 and the 280. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start grinding this edge off into a 45-ish down and leave a flat girdle along the bottom edge here, about a 1/8 inch thick, 2 millimeter-ish. And then when I get down to that, then the edge that I make on top here, I'm going to grind that off. So I'll end up with a little flat spot right in the center here. And then we'll start doming it. So let's fire it up. All right, I think that's good enough for me. Now let me get my fancy pointer here. Now I'm gonna hit this edge here. I'm gonna do the same thing, moving towards the center. Now stay away from your girdle because you've already established that. You don't want to be grinding on that anymore. So just stay away from that and just take this edge out right here. All right, so you saw the first one, there's the second one, and then you got a flat spot. Now I could go ahead and hit this one right here, which a lot of books and some folks will tell you that, but I can start doming here. I got enough here I can dome that off without trying to cut that edge. So we're going to start doming now. All right. Starting to like the height a little bit more. I think I might take a little bit more off to this end here. And when I'm doming, I'm starting like this, going across to this end, flipping it, starting like this, going across to this end, and then going from the top of my girdle to the bottom of my girdle. Try not to go into the girdle. If you do, you can blend that out on these other wheels here, but try to stay away from that as best you can. So I'm going to take a little bit more off here, and then we're going to move on to the next wheel. All right, I'm liking that. Let's move on to 220. I'm going to do a quick check for flat spots from the 80 grit. I think we're looking pretty good there. See a little bit on the edge right there. I can see the grind marks. We'll get that out. There's a little bit right there. All right. Checking again. All right. No, right there. So, I mean, I can see them. I don't know if you can see them, but these are grind marks from the 80 grit. You got to get these out to 220. The 280 on a softer stone would probably take them out, would probably on this one here, but it's a good habit to get rid of all these marks on this wheel right here before you move on to this wheel here. So I just got a little bit right there. Okay, I think we're good. So I hate to keep harping on that, but it'll save yourself a lot of grief when you get down to the other end here. All right, I'm going to do the 280. Not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and break this edge right here. Pretty good. Round over the tip a little bit. Now I'm going to move you onto the polishing side. So I'm going to shut you off here for a second. Okay, now we're on the polishing side. Got 600, 1200, 3000, and then cerium oxide around the corner there. So we'll start with 600. Alright, now we're going to move on to the 1200. Alright, 3000. Alright, I want to take a peek at the shininess. I got to grab a paper towel here quick. Let's see what we got here. That's 3000. So we're going to take it over on the cerium oxide and see if we can improve this a little bit. You see a lot of hematite in there. Looking pretty cool. So I got to move you again. Bear with me. Okay, we're on cerium oxide here. Get my splash guard in place. Get the water on. Polish it up. And move light around here. There. How's that? All right, let's see what we got here. Get it. I'm having a heck of a time with the lighting here. Just bear with me. So there is right there. Got a pretty good shine. Sometimes Jasper, you don't get the wet look, but this one's not bad at all. There's some fracture, you know, where the pieces came together. You can kind of see that a little bit, but overall I think we got a pretty good shine on that. So I'm going to take it upstairs, throw it in the freezer, take it off the top, and then we'll take a closer look at it. We got a really cool looking cabochon here. Got a nice clean break. Been pretty lucky here lately with that. We need to take a really close look at this one. Here's the original rock that we started with. There's the end cut right there. Now, it had some hematite in there. I really didn't notice that, but all the dark spots in the middle here are hematite. So this is what we started with. This is what we ended up with. So I'm kind of impressed. A lot of times you get these ones that are how do you rocated? I don't know. I'll put it on the screen again. Whatever glues them together, you get little tiny imperfections in there, and it kind of kills the shine just a little bit, not much. But you know, if somebody were to wear this for a necklace, you know, from a distance, you're not going to be able to see that. This is a nice shiny cabochon here. Come out really good. The hematite, the gray stuff in there is hematite, and that is well represented within this cabochon. And just, I don't know, I thought it would be really neat. Here's the back. Now the back, I just smooth it, and then I break the edges. And then here's the front. I shine the front. So I said it would be neat to have it little pieces like that. It just looks like it was like confetti, Jasper confetti with a little hematite mixed in there, and they just got compressed into a nice stone. So this will be available on my Etsy page. I'm going to put a bail on the top here. So it'll be oriented like that. And yeah, quite impressed. This is the Jasper that was from episode 22 that lost out to the fuchsite. I mentioned that earlier, but I'll mention that again. And it did make a beautiful cabochon. Well, thanks for watching me make a cabochon out of this Jasper from episode 22. Either one of them would have made fantastic cabochons. The fuchsite one, but the Jasper made it on this video here. Next week, I got a piece of banded amethyst. That'll be the cabochon for the episode following this one. So I'm going to make a little plug here, product plug. I make these templates. I've had some folks out there ask about these, if I sell them or not. I do not sell these wooden ones because they curl like crazy when it gets humid out. I don't want you guys to have to deal with that. So I did a little experimenting, and I found a plastic that my laser likes, and I'm going to start making them out of this plastic here, and they'll be available in my Etsy store in the patterns that I use. Yeah, so I appreciate my subscribers. I just like the fact that everybody out there likes this content enough to subscribe and come back and watch it. I love making these things, and I'm glad you folks out there like watching them. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. There's a button down below. You click on that. It's free. And then slide over. Give me a thumbs up, because that gets the analytics out so more people can find the content I'm putting out here. You can ring the bell if you want. It'll just get notified, but my video should pop up in your feed anyways if you're subscribed. And if you want to share, you can share that. I don't do the bell or share. I have had people explain it to me, but I don't use that stuff. So thanks for watching. That's all I got. I'll catch you later.